There's a question most men refuse to ask out loud. Why am I not winning yet? I studied that question for years and found a hard answer. Your results are loyal to your mental habits, not talent, not luck, not even knowledge, but the script you rehearse when no one is watching. If you think like the poor in spirit, indecision, delay, blame, you hire poverty long before money is involved. Give me a few minutes and I'll hand you a new script: how to spot the habits that keep you stuck, replace them with decisive action, and build the quiet consistency that puts you back in the game by noon tomorrow. I discovered early that winning and losing begin long before money changes hands. A man can hold noble values and decent intentions and still run a script that predicts defeat. I call it the poverty mindset, an inner posture that rehearses attention to limits. It whispers, "Wait," when action is cheap, and "someday," when timing is generous. The power of the mind obeys that script and quietly shrinks your future to match. Here is how I spotted it in myself and others. You delay good beginnings until the mood improves. You defend small goals because large ones expose you to judgment. You ask whether you're allowed instead of asking how to proceed. Your subconscious mind reads these habits as orders and returns fewer methods. The antidote starts with a new question. What can I build by noon with what I have? Name one person to serve, one step to ship, one mess to remove, then do it on a clock. Action updates identity. Identity updates outcomes. Replace "Am I ready?" with "What's the next useful move?" and momentum will answer. Hold that frame and I'll show you the precise mental habits that create poverty and how to replace them. Poverty begins as a posture, a negative state of mind rehearsed until it feels like truth. It sounds like 4 quiet sentences. I can't. It's hard. I'll look at it later. If it fails, I'll stop. The power of the mind treats those lines as laws and narrows your field of view. You stop seeing levers you could pull and allies you could ask. Your subconscious mind learns that safety, not progress, is the assignment. Winners run a different script. How can I? Who can help? What is the next step? Each question hires the brain's searchlight to find methods instead of exits. I keep a small card in my pocket with 3 prompts: how, who, next. When doubt appears, I answer all 3 within 2 minutes and attach a time. That tiny drill converts fear into a checklist, and the day begins to cooperate. Install this habit today. Replace "I can't" with "How can I do the smallest version by noon?" Replace "It's hard" with "Who has done this and what can I copy for 1 hour?" Replace "later" with "next step at 10:30." And if it fails, with "note 1 lesson, try again at 3. Run this for 3 days and watch options multiply where excuses used to live. I lost years asking for a green light that never came. Permission to try, to fail, to stand out. Letters I kept addressing to the world. The power of the mind can't move on a request. It moves on an order. While I waited, chances walked past in daylight. When I decided, my subconscious mind started recruiting methods immediately. Poor thinking waits for perfect timing. Prosperous thinking manufactures timing with a first step. Waiting protects pride. Action protects momentum. If you look at anything stalled in your life, you will find a decision you postponed. Decide now. Attach a proof due before noon and let feedback do the teaching. Speed is not recklessness. It's respect for opportunity's short attention span. Here is the drill I run on paper. Write one sentence. I authorize myself to specific action by time today. Name one person who benefits and one tiny risk I accept. Start a 15-minute timer and complete the smallest usable version. Identity changes when behavior changes, not when applause arrives. Indecision is a form of poverty because it bankrupts your best hours. You pay in opportunities that pass, in self-respect that thins, in energy that never returns. The power of the mind cannot pull in two directions. When you refuse to choose, it idles. While you collect opinions, bolder men collect results. Everything in your life that feels frozen sits on an undecided question. Decide now, attach a proof due before noon, and let feedback do the teaching. Here is my 10-10-10 drill. 10 minutes to define the choice and the first reversible action. 10 minutes to execute a minimal version. Call, page, prototype, ask. 10 minutes to log what happened and schedule the next cut. Repeat tomorrow. Decisions made on paper become momentum made in public. First, complaint. Every minute spent rehearsing what's wrong is a minute not spent repairing it. I replace "this isn't fair" with "what can I fix by noon?" The power of the mind needs assignments, not alibis. Your subconscious mind will find more of whatever you fund, problems or levers. Fund levers. Second, blame. When the villain is always out there, your tools stay in here unused. I audit instead. Which step was mine and what's the next fix on a clock? Responsibility restores agency faster than inspiration ever will. Blame feels clean but pays nothing. Results pay. Third, risk avoidance. You call it prudence. Often it is pride disguised as safety. I take the smallest reversible risk available today. One ask, one test, one publish. Tiny risks compound into courage, the way pennies compound into capital. Your subconscious mind releases more nerve when you consistently survive small stakes. Survival proofs build boldness. Fourth, comfort worship. You pick tasks that cannot judge you and wonder why life won't promote you. I schedule one discomfort rep daily. Hard call, early wake, cold start. Discomfort is tuition. Pay it on purpose and the price drops. Ease is a fine destination, a terrible boss. Choose growth over grace for 1 hour a day. Fifth, waiting for motivation. Motion manufactures it. Idleness starves it. I begin with a 5-minute starter task and let momentum argue for the next 10. Feelings follow movement like a shadow follows light. If you must wait for a feeling, wait while moving your hands. That is how the stuck becomes scarce. My turning point did not arrive with applause. It arrived with bills and silence. I kept searching for a kinder economy or a kinder editor until I realized I was outsourcing my future. The power of the mind waited for my orders while I waited for permission. So I took responsibility the only way it counts, on paper with times. Your subconscious mind respects a man who assigns himself work and shows up to do it. I began treating defeats as data and myself as the foreman. A rejection meant refine the offer. A dry month meant increase asks. A bad page meant a better draft by noon. Nothing mystical, just ownership converted into scheduled action. And something strange happened. Doors that were closed became doors I hadn't pushed. Responsibility turned problems into levers I could pull every day. Here is the sentence that changed my ledger. Even when it's not my fault, it is my problem. That line returned my tools to my hands. I wrote one controllable, one contact, and one correction for the next attempt, and I did them early. Total responsibility is not self-blame. It is self-authorization. Adopt it, and you stop asking life to move, you start moving life. Take paper and write a hard question at the top. Which 3 habits of mine move me toward failure? List them without poetry: procrastination, victimhood, fear of judgment, inconsistency, lack of focus. The power of the mind cannot fix smoke. It needs names. You're a subconscious mind.